The situation Europe finds itself in is actually quite perilous, and in many ways parallels how things were pre-World War I, leading up to those events. What NATO is doing right now is very provocative and the kind of thing that you would want to do if you were trying to start World War III. Specifically, I'm referring to the decision by Germany to seize 3 Gazprom liquefied natural gas ships on Wednesday. Essentially, 3 ships that Russia uses to ship LNG have been seized by the German government. Now, the Dynagas LNG partnership that Germany controls Germany's ships would continue for an indefinite period of time. 2 of the ships, the Unruhe River and the Ob River, were chartered by Gazprom until 2028. The 3rd ship, a Clean Energy, was originally under Gazprom control until 2026. So there's technical issues about some ownership there, but the seizing of them is clearly intended to interrupt Russia's operation. Now, Gazprom Germania, which is the Russian subsidiary inside of Germany, has been renamed Securing Energy for Europe. So very clearly, like even just simply by the name, we can now tell this is something that's being done specifically to undermine Russia, because it's posing Russia as a threat in terms of energy resources, which is really ironic coming from NATO. Okay, now last week Berlin considered expropriating portions of Russia's Nord Stream 2 pipeline that are in German territory and repurpose them for an LNG terminal. Liquefied natural gas, particularly that from the US, which would then be used to go on to the rest of Europe, has been in high demand. I mean, that's something that they want to do because now they're trying to get away from Russian gas. So the idea is now we're going to buy now Europe wants to buy American liquefied natural gas instead of Russian. So in other words, what we very clearly see here is, very much the situation that we saw before World War I. The U.S. is essentially trying to undermine Russian energy exports in favor of their own. In other words, the capitalists in the U.S. are competing with the capitalists in Russia, and even the Russian state to a large degree. So, yeah, we're seeing international competition in spurring on imperialism. I mean, literally, yeah, we really only have capitalism to blame for this situation, because energy resources are competing for who has profitability rather than producing towards as there has need. So it's really very obvious, this whole situation. What the rest of the world has to do is sit through, in particularly Ukraine, has to sit there and put up with the essentially imperialist struggle between Russia and the United States. Okay, and now all of this, it comes after, Berlin took control of Gazprom's German subsidiary in April. So this is all political and economic maneuvering for the sake of one empire trying to undermine a burgeoning empire that's trying to be built. As the United States is failing as a global power, Russia is trying to rise, and then the U.S. is trying to undermine that. So get ready for some serious oil price problems in the near future, because while this isn't oil, it's liquefied natural gas, the energy sectors are tremendously connected. And this is going to hurt a lot more German people. This is going to hurt a lot more people inside of Europe, because we have this thing called a market, and it's an irrational animal that gets upset by things like this. And like I said, this is like a whole World War I type situation where it's essentially threatening the economic and political stability of all of Europe, because capitalist firms, even one that's run by the government in Russia, are competing with each other. Because once again, resources being used for profitability rather than distribution according to need, we end up with a situation like this. And it's just, you hope this isn't going to turn into a world war, because I'm not so confident as Mao was after World War II that a third world war would lead towards socialism. I'm not so confident that that would happen. Nuclear weapons very much have changed the landscape of the world, at least in terms of military conflicts. So I don't exactly... let's just say I don't put a lot of faith in a world war creating more socialism. It may very well do that, but I have some serious doubts. So for now, let's try to avoid any kind of nuclear holocaust. Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.